Objection! Hello, every pony. I'm MasterCode, your ace analyst, and today we have a story about the beloved Cloudpuff going missing in— Wait, didn't we already do this? Yeah, issue number 3. Another Cloudpuff disappearing story? G5, the only show that can rip itself off. Okay, to be fair, we eventually find out he was stolen instead of him just running off in that issue, but still, not a great start. So we open up on a pony named Chrysanthemum, whatever. Anyway, the mayor is making short videos about taking old junk and repurposing it. Hashtag Easy was first. The stream has got the attention of the Pop Princess as they prep Zephyr Heights for the brand new year celebration. As the sisters are discussing resolutions, they find out that all of the various festivities have been sabotaged. Zipp, of course, takes up the banner to investigate the occurrence, but Pip tries to bring her down, remarking that everything isn't a mystery, leading to a mild argument. An element of G5 that has always been done rather well for the most part is just how authentic their sibling relationship is. Two vastly different personalities and lifestyles that often cause them to clash, but the love between the two is clearly there, and those differing lifestyles can also lead to solutions with their different mindsets. Pip just wants her sister to cut loose, admittedly, since whenever there's even the tiniest hint of danger, or sus nature, Zipp has to go and investigate, which in her defense, there are times when said suspicions were true, but on the other hoof, Pip sees that living that constant lifestyle of trying to find a culprit to every single problem can be unhealthy and stressful. Thus, presented with the opportunity for a meaningful New Year's resolution, she does advise her sister to back it down a bit, to which Zipp agrees, only to investigate up until the party. Anyway, she goes around and sees that the fireworks, food, and the commemorative photo booth have been destroyed. Oh no, not the commemorative photo booth!
Oh no! Anyway,
she unfortunately comes up empty and ultimately returns back to her room, where she comes across the true criminal mastermind. Actually, she puts together that all the various junk around the crime scene are the same items that were seen in the videos done by Christina Yamaguchi.
Chrysanthemum.
Whatever. Anyway, she rushes back to the party, but accidentally causes the entire stage to crumble.
I didn't do it.
The next day, Pip is picking up the pieces of the failed celebration when Zipp arrives to apologize to her sister by saying that her New Year's resolution is going to be no more detectiving. Which is pretty bold of Zipp to say. Even Pip herself notes the severity of the statement. And this is a rather big and admirable claim. Solving mysteries has been Zipp's thing ever since we first met her, and while she can get a little overzealous in her pursuit of the truth, as I said earlier, it does lead to a resolution or at least some new discovery. Regardless, it's something that brings her a lot of joy, and something that can help her in her future rulership in seeing all the angles. And for her to make such a claim to give up something she loves does speak for her character in sacrificing one of her biggest interests as to not negatively affect another's life with her hobby, most notably her sister. Anyway, Zipp then goes to apologize to supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Chrysanthemum.
Whatever, I'm calling you Chrissy. Upon arrival, the mayor is rather anxious with the princess's sudden arrival, and oh dear sweet Celestia, what happened to her? I didn't think the run-in from yesterday injured her that bad, but the entire front half of her body's been amputated and— wait, unless she's supposed to look like that? She looks like the piece of a jigsaw puzzle. It looks like some creature took a big bite out of her chest, legs, and butt. Seriously, this is extremely distracting throughout the entire comic. And yes, I know it's her underbelly being colored a different shade, but it just looks like some pony just chopped off the front part of her body with just how the angle looks. It's just odd. Otherwise, I will say that the artwork is good, the shading looks nice on characters, giving the mains in particular a surprising amount of detail, and the pencil work in some scenes ramps up the intensity and it looks rather cool. Anyway, Zipp notes the destroyed nature of the mayor's home, but resists the urge to press her on the matter, and does apologize.
I'm definitely not a villain.
However, she continues to act suspicious, noting very specific things about Cloudpuff, obviously failing to pass off her innocence as Zipp sees through the charade.
You're saying I'm a villain, aren't you? Admit it.
The two strike up a conversation. Chrissy talks about her channel, saying that despite how hard she tries, she has few subscribers, and reveals that she's basically making content to be famous and cater to the masses rather than just do it for fun, which admittedly is a trap a lot of content creators fall into, making content for online success rather than actually taking enjoyment in the practice, which again is a pretty good lesson, but it gets lost in the wake of the big reveal where we find out that Chrissy actually stole Cloudpuff. Her brilliant plan was to kidnap the royal family's dog, then a couple days later just show up and say, "Hey, I found your dog, I'm a hero, now I'll be famous and get followers, everyone will watch me, yay!"
And you're an idiot.
I don't... Okay. In the G5 movie, our heroes plotted to steal the Unity Crystal from Queen Haven, and yes, it was ultimately for a greater cause to bring every pony back together, and even with Zipp involved, the crime of stealing still happened, fair point. But at least then, it was an item, not a living being. Here, you take a living creature, the family pet of the Zephyr Heights Royals. What were you gonna do if Zipp didn't ruin the New Year's celebration event and you got caught doing this? Tell the royal guards, "Hey, I did it for the views." Yeah, try streaming your show behind bars.
Stupid.
And instead of reprimanding her, Zipp actually feels sympathy? And they go off to find Cloudpuff. Okay, I joked about streaming behind bars, but the fact that Zipp doesn't reprimand or even yell at her in the slightest, especially how we've seen her grow others like Misty in the past, feels wildly out of character for her, even taking in the resolution she's trying to adhere to. Although this side gag of Pip calling Zipp here is pretty funny.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
Anyway, as I said, the two continue looking for the dog, but Zipp is letting Chrissy take the reins on finding clues and leading the investigation, so she's technically not violating her New Year's resolution. On the one hoof, she's sticking to her guns and not actively searching for clues. On the other hoof, your dog is missing! If this was your sister, would you be so casual? Ugh. Moving on. So we then get a 6 full-page montage of them following the trail of Cloudpuff, who we find out has been chasing a squirrel this whole time. And when they finally find him, he immediately escapes, and it's another 2 full pages of continuing the chase. So yeah, this whole sequence is 8 pages. This could have been easily condensed down to 2 or 3 pages, as it just pads out the story. Also, during this whole chase, Chrissy is still actively collecting junk for her channel. It's great to know how much she's devoted to finding this dog. This is an obsession at this point if she can't let go stuff for her channel. And she's even a bit of a kleptomaniac, stealing stuff, regardless if the items are thrown out or damaged. You know, someone owns that plant, right? Anyway, after the chase is finally over, Chrissy and Zipp chit-chat, and the mayor realizes that she had fun in the investigation, that she had a hoof in causing, and along with that, she no longer worries about content for the masses and just wants to make stuff for herself now, with the stuff she stole today. And in turn, Chrissy tells Zipp that she shouldn't give up being a detective because she should continue doing something that should make her happy, to which Zipp agrees. Okay, so here's the problem. The conflict between the two characters is that both are doing things not for themselves, but rather to appease others. Zipp giving up detectiving to appease her sister, and Chrissy wanting to appease her viewers with content. And the way it's supposed to go is that both are meant to understand each other's faults, and should just continue to do what they love because they want to do what makes them happy, and maybe dial things back. Definitely in Chrissy's case. In other words,
moderation, you've got it.
But instead of coming to the conclusion of learning to dial back her sleuthing herself, Chrissy has to tell her that. As for Chrissy, she learns the lesson about doing things for herself after committing her various crimes of conspiracy and thievery. But more importantly, she claims she didn't care about the content and only cared about finding Cloudpuff. Despite the fact that we see her clearly waste time collecting junk, regardless of whether or not it's important for her channel, which clearly inhibited their search for the flying puffball.
Is this the human condition of madness, leader? It is.
Later on, Chrissy meets up with Zipp again, giving her her newest junk journal kit that she made, no doubt made from the stolen items earlier that day. Thanks Zipp for her help. The princess saying Chrissy did it all herself, and then she just walks off, getting off scot-free for all she did. And it just rubs me the wrong way that she had no negative repercussions for her actions.
We hope you've enjoyed No Moral Theater.
I'm not saying you need to put her in jail, but community service or cleaning the junk around the castle or something? And we end with Zipp and Pip coming together to bring in the new year with a brilliant fireworks display. Oh boy, so that was the case of the missing Puff. And wow, what a mess. It starts out decent enough, but takes a nosedive halfway through. The stuff between the sisters is always good, and the artwork is also nice, minus the weird design of Chrissy. Seriously, she looks weird. But the pacing at times drags on the story, and along with that, the morals and how they're handled are just so poorly executed. And Chrissy really isn't that much of an interesting character. And worst of all, she isn't punished for any of her crimes. Now you ask me, how would I rewrite this? Well, for Zipp, you can actually keep the majority of her stuff the same, but like I said, have her come to the conclusion of moderation on sleuthing on her own. As for Pip, again, not much to change, but when Zipp makes that claim of no more sleuthing, you can keep her saying how dramatic the claim is, but encourage her to see if she can find a middle ground. Chrissy needs a complete overhaul to make her sympathetic and not come off as the element of her not getting many viewers, fine, and her making content for viewers rather than herself works fine as a start, and we see her character transition over the course of the comic. Great! Here's where the change happens. During the New Year celebration, Cloudpuff chases the squirrel onto the stage, and Zipp attempts to stop her, but accidentally breaks the stage and the doggo runs off. You can then have a scene of Zipp apologizing and the three maybe having lunch or something together, eventually realize that Cloudpuff is gone, and Zipp goes off to find him, and Chrissy volunteers to assist, saying that she wants to legit help. We see her documenting clues, following the puffball's trail of destruction, showing a real knack for observation, and even Zipp is impressed with her eye for sleuthing, all the while feeling anxiety that she's giving up this hobby. But along the way, we actually see Chrissy doing quick viral videos saying that they're on the lookout for Cloudpuff, showing off the junk that she's collecting along the way, and does get her some more viewership, but does get in the way of the investigation. Zipp eventually has enough and tells her off as she isn't 100% dedicated to helping in the search. Zipp attempts to find the trail, but to no avail. Chrissy eventually catches up and apologizes, and the two put their heads together and see comments on a couple of videos she posted that they've seen Cloudpuff, and eventually catch up to him and find him. In the end, Zipp sees that sleuthing is something that's highly meaningful to her and can't give up, and Chrissy sees how she can use her skills not just for seeing and repurposing junk, but have a keen eye that can be used for other purposes as well. It's not perfect, yet it's still a much better story. But as is, this is a rough one, guys. But luckily, it was a one-shot, so you can easily avoid this one. Hopefully next time we'll find a much better comic. Well, that's it for today, guys. Until next time, MC out!